In this video, we're going to show you how to get this submission from this position. Hey everybody, MacDonald, Balanced Jiu-Jitsu. I'm here today with Coach Marcia, and we're going to be going over the details on how to achieve an armbar from the mount position. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. I've got a bunch of videos coming up on how to break armbar defense after these armbar videos, so you won't want to miss out on that. Let's get into this armbar. When I'm looking to attack an armbar from the mount position, the first thing I need to do is separate Marcia's elbows from her body. Her arms are going to be a lot weaker if her elbows are in line with her shoulder. So they'll generally be keeping their arms very, very tight here. First thing I want to look to do is bring my hands to the floor and cup in front of her head. I want to use my feet on her hips so that I can start to walk forward and start to use my hips to open up her elbows. So I'm bringing my base down, I cover her head. The next thing I look to do is I want to start to try to attach my feet to her hips so that I have something to push off of. Okay, so once my feet are connected to her hips, now I'm going to start to walk forward, and she's trying to push me down. I'm pushing against her hips to stop her elbows from being able to come down. Once I feel like I have her elbows open far enough, now I can look to posture up. Next thing I'm going to look to do here is I'm going to be looking to see if I can get a hand inside of her collar. Okay, so I'm going to get the hand inside of the collar nice and deep, and then what I'm going to look to do here is as she's trying to pull my arm away, that's going to be my opportunity to push her elbow to the center line. Okay, once I push her elbow to the center line, I'm going to cover it with my ribs now. So I'm getting low on it. So she's trying to pull her arm back, I'm laying on it. So it's heavy and hard for her to get her arm out. Now I can also place my hand on the floor, and I want to put all my weight to my hand so that I can make my body light and move myself into the S mount. Next thing I'm going to look to do here is get control of her wrist, lean to my right to make my left foot light, and then I'm going to bring that over her head and sit myself to the floor. Next thing I want to look to do here is start to pull my heels in nice and tight while I'm pinching my knees. And as I'm laying back, I can let go of the collar. I start to bring this hand to her wrist. My left hand is controlling her fist at the thumb. And because I know it's possible she might take off for a running escape, I'm always going to bring their arm to the right this way. So and then I'm applying pressure away from her thumb towards her pinky while I'm pinching my knees. And if I've pulled out all the slack and my hips are nice and tight, I should need very, very little hip action to get the lock. So I'm going to start to apply the pressure, and I get the tap. So let's take a look at this from another angle. All right, so we've achieved the mount position and we're looking to score this armbar. First thing I want to do, lower my base and get my hands in front of her head so she can't slip away from me, right? If I don't cover her head and I start to try to walk forward, she's just going to follow with me. So I block her head, and now I'm going to get my feet up on her hips. Okay, I'm using this now to start to like push and open up the elbows. Once I get the elbows open and I can bring my knees up into that space, now I can look to posture. Okay, and I'm posturing, I'm keeping my hips coming forward. That way if she tries to bridge, she's not going to knock me off at all. The next thing I'm going to look to do is get a hand inside of the collar, and when she looks to defend the choke, that's when I'm going to look to push her elbow to the center line. Once I've pushed her elbow to the center line, I'm going to drop my body on top of that to stop her from being able to pull that back. And now with my hand on the floor, I can put all my weight there so that I can make my body light and move myself into what we call the S mount. So when I'm sitting here, I'm usually squeezing my legs really tight and then stopping her from being able to bring her arm back. Next thing I want to look to do is get nice and high at the wrist. I don't want to just grab low here where she's going to be able to grab onto her arms and stop the armbar from happening. So I'm always digging really high to the wrist here. I'm going to lean to the side, and then I have another option for finishing here. I can either just start to look to bring my leg over her head and post on the floor and bring my hips forward here for the finish, or we can go to that classic finish, hands on the floor, I lean all my weight, I bring my leg over, and as I look to sit, I'm always kind of grabbing onto some cloth here, the belt, the pants. I'll know that she might try to run, so I'm going to do everything that I can to stop her from being able to take off here. So I'm pulling my heels in tight, I'm pinching my knees, I'm start to move my hands to the wrist and controlling the thumb at the fist here, pinching my knees and always pulling off to the side a little bit, which is going to make it a lot harder for them to run and get that escape on the running escape from here. And then I'm pulling all the slack out of the arm, a tiny little bit of hip movement, and I'm going to get the finish on this arm bar. All right, if you got any details from that, hit that like button, share the technique. Don't forget to comment. It really helps us come up with material for you. Remember, I've got a bunch of armbar instructional and how to break defense on those arm bars coming right at you. So hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for coming, everybody.